Hello, this is Buddy from Mr.MetaChess. In this video I'm going to talk about how to prepare meditation and profile cards. Now if this game is new and unfamiliar to you, I encourage you to check out my other videos which cover the game itself. Also, if you'd like to purchase the rulebook, go ahead and visit wargamevault.com. If you navigate to the top of the main page at wargamevault.com, you'll type in MetaChess into the search bar and then hit enter, and you'll see below there's a product listing there. You can click on the text or you can click on the thumbnail, and then if you want to see a preview of what the rulebook looks like, you can click on quick preview or full size, and I recommend the full size view. You'll see a sample file of the rule book. It's the first 10 pages. You can scroll through and check it out. And today we're going to talk about the printer-friendly meditation cards and profile cards, which are listed in the appendix. So after you purchase the rulebook and download it, you'll open it up. You can look at the table of contents, and you're going to scroll all the way to the end to the appendix section where you see the profile cards here and the MetaChess cards. Now these are printer friendly for 8.5 by 11. I recommend printing on cardstock paper, but you can print on regular paper as well. And we're going to go over how to prepare these. I also recommend getting a laminator. Laminators are nice and cheap these days. And near the end of the video, I'll show you the lamination process. Now the tools you need for this, I'm using an X-Acto knife. You could also use scissors, are perfectly fine. But I'm super OCD with these things, and so I like to use an X-Acto knife. And then that tool on the far left there is a bone folder. It's actually a bookbinding tool. I get a lot of my specialty tools like that from Blick art supply, but you'll also need a cutting mat, and you'll need a nice straight edge ruler. I have a whole variety of straight edge rulers because I do all sorts of work with cardboard and cardstock and paper, and I highly recommend that bookbinding bone folder because it's a really valuable tool for setting creases if you're doing any sort of origami or R&D type work with paper, cardstock, cardboard. So you'll go ahead and cut these out using whatever tools you have, scissors or X-Acto knife. Another tool I have in the background there is a nice cutting mat. Those are really handy. I also have a bunch of different sizes of those. So go ahead and trim each card out. So I'm working on the meditation cards here, but it's going to be the same process for the profile cards. Originally I printed this on cardstock, but I think in the future when I print more copies, I'm going to print on regular printer paper. On my library actually has a really nice laser printer, and I've noticed the graphics print a little better on laser printers. This one here I had printed at a print shop, and you can tell it was printed using an inkjet printer, so the blacks look a little blotchy, which actually isn't a huge deal because when you go to laminate this, it's gonna make all those anything that has black ink is gonna look nice underneath the lamination. So after you cut it out, you're going to put a crease in the edge and fold it. And then I'm using an edge trimming tool that actually came with my laminator. And that puts a nice little rounded edge on each corner of the card. And these cards are front and back sided, which is why there's a crease in there. And then I'm just going to continue on and finish cutting out the rest of the cards. Like I mentioned earlier, you can use an X-Acto, which is kind of my preferred method of trimming and preparing DIY game stuff. But if you have a steady hand, then scissors work just fine as well. And here I'm working with the bone folder. That's pretty much the same idea with trimming, although because the bone folder, the tip of that thing is a little bit ever so slightly thicker than an X-Acto. You'll want to position your straight edge ruler so that it's just a hair, like a millimeter or so to the left or right of wherever you're putting the crease. And then once you put that crease on there, you can use either end of the bone folder to give it a nice smooth crease. Normally, if you don't have the bone folder, you'd use like your fingernail or the bottom end of a Sharpie works really well. The only problem is sometimes it will scratch the print or put scratches in the surface of the paper. So a bone folder is a really nice tool for pretty much seamless creases. And then again, I'm going to use my clipping tool to put some nice rounded edges on each corner of the card. Okay, so after you get it clipped and you get the crease in there and then the edges rounded, you're going to use something to seal the front and back of the card. There's two different methods for doing this. You can use my favorite method, which is rubber cement, and I'm going to show you a trick here that I learned in college, actually. For years, growing up, you use rubber cement for all sorts of projects when you're a kid, and at no point throughout my childhood did I actually understand the proper way to use rubber cement. And so that's one thing I learned in college in some of my design classes is how to use rubber cement properly. So what you do is you put a coat of rubber cement on each surface you want to attach. And you give it about 2 minutes to dry. It'll be dry to the touch. It won't be quite as sticky or tacky. And then as soon as it's dry, and the drying time is the key part of this here, then you stick them together. Now, when you're a kid, you just slop it on and stick them together immediately. But the real magic to rubber cement is putting it on both surfaces, letting both sides of whatever you're sticking together dry, and then attach them. And once you do that, it is truly it's a strong adhesion, and that's why they call it rubber cement. It's not nearly as strong when you attach two pieces together when the rubber cement is still wet. So after you get it rubber cemented, you'll take a look at it. This is just my OCD here. I'm going through and trimming any little visible parts of the edge that where the edge of the graphics are showing, and just trimming little hairline pieces of the edge away. And then this is the other way you can do it. So if you don't have rubber cement and you want to go the double-sided tape method, it's much faster. Just stick a little piece in there. It doesn't take much. You just need enough to get the two sides to stick together. So now we're ready for lamination. So this is a little bit tricky, but I have 8.5 by 11 sheets here. I would recommend the thinner lamination plastic. I'm not sure what the exact specs on this are. It just came with my laminator, and then I purchased some additional sheets from the print shop where I had these printed. And so getting them all laid out nice and clean, you want about 1/2 inch of space, or as much space as possible around each card, because it's going to need that space when it goes through the laminator to create the seal. And the seal around the edge is the important part of lamination. So once you get that all laid out, make sure there's no dust in there. It's a little bit fiddly, but go ahead and put those into your laminator, and you might have to hold the bottom up a little bit so that the cards don't slide out while it's running through the laminator. And for MetaChess, you need one profile card for each miniature or game piece on the chessboard. So you have 16 per team, per player. So you're going to need 32 of these cards. Now there's just one page included in the rule book with 4 cards on that page. So you can do the math there. I'm not sure exactly how many of the prints you'll need, but you'll have 4 cards per 8.5 by 11 page, and then just multiply that times however many profile cards you need for your game. Then after you laminate, this is the fun part. I love this tool. This is also something that came with my laminator. By the way, if you're buying a laminator, they're super cheap. They're around 30 to 40 bucks. I would go with, not a super cheap one because they tend to not run for very long. You'll run into tech issues pretty quickly within like 6 months to a year. So go to kind of a medium range laminator if you're buying a new one, and I would get one that comes with these additional little tools. The little rounded edge trimming tool, and then that cutting tool is really handy as well. So go ahead and cut out all your cards, and if you need to trim a little bit of excess lamination along the edges, do that. You don't want to bring it all the way to the edge of the card. You don't want to trim right up against the edge of the paper, but you do want to leave about, maybe 4 or 5 millimeters. And that does it for this video. That's how you prepare meditation and profile cards for the MetaChess game. If you're interested in checking out the game, you can go to Mr.MetaChess.com. And if you're interested in purchasing the rule book, which includes a full appendix with all the things you need to play the game, go ahead and visit wargamevault.com. And thanks for watching.